What's up, guys? Ronin Man here, sitting in the hot tub, watching the sunrise on Christmas Day. Beautiful day. It was raining for like a week, which is nice too. You know, good for the trees and everything, flowers. But I love it when it looks warm outside. I get fired up, so I'm going to be out there today. I think one of the most difficult, impasses that men have in accepting the reality of modern life is that it's so difficult sometimes to accept really bad news that there's no kind of good side to. You know, it's just like there's bad news, and it's even worse if there's no reason for it. It's just like kind of there. I guess it would be something like if it was an accident. It'd be like somebody was driving, I read about a poor guy who was in a hurry to work, and he blazed out of his car and he ran over his own infant. And it was just such a sad story because the guy wasn't a bad guy. He was in a hurry going to work. You know, he didn't expect the kid to be out. You know, obviously, maybe the mother had something to do with that. But anyway, it was one of those stories where there really was no good news. And there never would be, because there's always going to be a regret. It's one thing if you lose something that there's a reason for it. And there's another one if there's no fucking reason except for a once mistake that's just penalized 1 billion trillion times more than the mistake. And I think that's one of the most difficult things I think guys have with accepting when they read about, female nature, the kind of the modern marriage. A lot of guys, they just want it to be different. And I understand that. It's an optimism, and it's a desire for like good things, and you think, well, if only this or if only that. And I think when you accept the reality of what, marriage and long-term relationships are in the West for guys, there really is no sugarcoating it. And the reason why is because, yes, marriages used to last, right? They used to last. But I think because marriages used to last, guys never really realized that their wife really never really loved them, right? It's the man loves the wife. In the Bible, they command the man to love the wife, and they command the woman to obey the man. And that's because those old books, they had some reality there. They had some wisdom. The best you get is somebody who stays with you, and basically plays ball with the company, with the family structure, helps out. But to actually want love and emotion, it just doesn't happen. And it's just, what have you done for me lately? Basically forever and ever, for guys. And I think that's just one hard thing to accept. And that's it. We're talking about successful marriages here. Now I'll talk about reality of modern marriages, that it's pretty much, they pretty much all end in failure. And you're sitting there thinking, what did I do wrong? What did I do? What could I have done? Or maybe next time. It's very, very difficult to accept that it just doesn't work anymore, and that it's not smart. Especially for optimistic guys, And I'm not saying not to be optimistic. I'm just saying, like, if you accept reality, your life's going to be easier. That's my basic premise in life. So people will say, oh, I don't know if you should find out that. Or it's like, I always want to find out. Always want to find out the truth. Because in the end of the day, I believe, and it's been proved true in my life, is that when I find out the truth, I have and I think most guys do, have an amazing ability to come back and to recalibrate, rethink, and use that time wisely. And at the end of the day, it's not about what you achieve in life or how much you make other people happy. It's like, it's this internal thing. I think the internal calculation for most men is, did I do the best with what I had? I think that's the calculation. Did I do the best with what I fucking was given? Both physically, mentally, time-wise, when there was opportunities, did I grab those opportunities? I think other people were always going to judge. They're always looking out for the number one most successful guy in the world and stuff. But, at the end of the day, that really doesn't have any bearing on a single guy, because everybody knows that they are dealing with their own circumstances and situations. And so a guy in the ghetto doesn't expect his parents are going to buy him a Rolls Royce, for example. You know what I mean? It's just not going to happen, right? So we accept it. We're like, okay, but I can make my way up. I can do it. I can make it happen. And at the end of the day, when you're alone, that's what you think about, is did I do the best I could have? That's why I always implore guys to really fucking kick ass, because in the end of the day, you're going to be facing that guillotine of your own mind. And so when you get up today and you think, what am I going to do? You're like, I'm going to do something that I'm fucking proud of, right? And the reason is not for other people. It's not for any kind of God. It's because I know if I don't, I'm creating one more day where I'm creating a bad habit. And at the end of the day, it's going to bite me in the ass. So it's just easier to say, today, I'm going to kick ass. I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to get the hard stuff done. And Brian Tracy, this guy he passed away, but he was a sales trainer, but he had a book called Eat That Frog. And he said, eat that frog first, Well, he didn't mean eat frogs, or, I don't know if he was a vegetarian or vegan or whatever, but his thing was do the most difficult thing first. And that was the way he expressed it. And I thought, yeah, just get it done, whatever it is. If you got to do the dishes, if you got to mow the lawn, if you got to rake up the leaves, if you got to plan something. For me today, I got a bad charge on my credit card from a rental car company. And I hate this kind of stuff. I don't like complaining, actually. And I like it just to be easy. But I got to make a bunch of calls, talk to a bunch of weird people, prove my case, and get my money back because it wasn't right, And not only did they charge me for a car I didn't get, they charged a late fee because I didn't get it after they canceled it on me. So anyway, I hate that kind of stuff. So everybody's got your own stuff you hate, right? And so I'm going to get up. I'm going to do that. I'm going to call those guys. I'm going to send those emails. At the end of the day, if I can't get the money back somehow, obviously I could do a chargeback, but if I can't and it's impossible, I'm satisfied that I did my best. Now, obviously, in a case like this, I will get my money back, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's that act of, hey, I did not sit around. That's what you want. You don't want to be haunted by yourself, right? That is the biggest demon, is reality in your own mind. So when you think about what should I do, I don't have motivation. Think about that. Realize that you are going to torture yourself. So why not fucking just do it and feel good? Because obviously there's a lot of good benefit that comes from doing the right thing. And logically, that, right? There's a lot of good stuff that comes from making that sales call, doing the thing, doing the right thing, getting it out of the way, right? But that doesn't help when you're in that emotional state. So just remember, think back to yourself, the times you regretted, the times that you were pissed at yourself, right? And just say, do I want to do that to myself again? Hell no. I don't want to do that to myself. I want to get up tomorrow and say, yeah, I took care of that. I started that. I called them. They didn't answer. They didn't reply. Take note of that. Work on it again. Because like I said, I just hate this kind of stuff. If I ever have a girlfriend, I always have her do all this stuff for me because girls love it. Seems like to me, girls love complaining. So they love complaining to companies and yelling at them and everything. So I just give it to somebody who's good at it, right? Enjoys it, right? But, sometimes it's good for me to do things I don't like to do, right? And just get them out of the fucking way, right? So it's the end of 2023. We had some great summits in 2023. And I met a lot of you guys. And I saw a lot of you guys. I saw the things you're working on. I saw the difficulties you're having. And, it's everybody's got their own set of burdens, And I was looking at you guys and I was just thinking, it's pretty amazing, like, what's going on here. Because guys are getting better. Guys are fucking getting better. And every time I meet somebody, again, it's always like, oh, I did that thing. And I'm like, really? Because most people I meet don't do that thing, right? They just kind of like, still smoking or whatever it is, And they're like, yeah, I quit smoking. No way, Holy crap, you were smoking forever. Yeah, I didn't need it. I quit. So that is awesome. What other word do you use? I love it. I love it. It gives me motivation to do the things that I need to do, right? Whether they're, watch out for my health. I hate to do that, right? I hate to go in, check things out. The guy says I'm fine. That's embarrassing. I'd rather not. But I think there's something wrong, so I got to check it out, right? Very, very rarely do I do that. But it can happen, Happened one time. Went to the doctor. Thought I was having, something wrong with my heart. He said, it's just stress. What did I do about it? Quit my job. Went to India for 4 months. Bought a motorcycle, drove around India, and just enjoyed the very slow life in the desert. I saw a lot of new people, learned a lot of new things. Had an epic journey, like literally an epic journey through India. Learned a new culture. Came back. My heart felt good again. And I went back into it. I made more money than I ever made in my life after that trip. That was when I was headhunting. I got back into headhunting. I just killed it after that. I demanded a secretary, a meeting setter that I didn't have before, and hired a friend of mine. He was very good, and bada boom, bada bing. He was able to make set up the meetings. I knocked him down. Everybody made money. It was awesome. And it came from me going to the doctor and being kind of embarrassed because there was really nothing wrong with me, right? There was nothing physically wrong with my heart, but there was stress, and I was embarrassed about that. Because I was embarrassed that I had stress, and 2, I was embarrassed that I thought there was going to be something. Usually when I go to the doctor, because I don't go very often, he usually says, okay, there's something physical we got to fix, or, look at this x-ray. This thing is broken. That thing is not connected. And I'm like, okay, we got to fix that. But this one was like something I wasn't used to, something that I felt, for whatever reason, embarrassed about. I felt like I should have my life, and I should not feel stress. I should fucking get over it, right? And I did eventually, but not at that moment. And it was part of the reason was looking back, I was kind of in a no-win situation at work. No matter how hard I worked and how much money I made, I wasn't getting any praise. And because of that, I didn't know that I was secure in my job. I thought he was going to fire me, actually. So that was causing me a lot of stress. After I quit, he called me back and he's like, dude, I'm so sorry. Like my old boss called me back and he's like, dude, you were doing great. And I didn't say anything to him. I did not say a single fucking word. But he said to me, I'm sorry, that I didn't, recognize, and I want to pay you because I had a bunch of deals that came through after I left. He sent me a check for the first one, $36,000. And he was like, dude, when you come back from India, definitely come in and join here again. And I went to another place because I know that once somebody has a pattern, they're going to do it again. He's a nice guy. He's a smart guy, but I wanted something new, and I was ready to expand. I was ready. My skill level was at a level where it was time to spread my wings. I was vice president level, and that's what happened. I got a vice president job. I got a secretary, and we both made tons of money. Me and my secretary, meeting setter, and the president. Everybody banked cash because I think it was originally because I went into the doctor. Right? It all connected because I wouldn't have changed if that would have happened. I would have kept working for him because I was making good money. It wasn't bad. Great office, nice people, nice location. I was getting a lot of respect from my colleagues. I was handling some major clients, but I felt just insecure and under stress. And it wasn't a big shock because everybody at his company eventually quit, but he wasn't a great manager, of people. But anyway, I need to know that I'm secure. Like, you don't motivate me when I'm doing well by saying, hey, I'm going to cut you. That just stresses me out. I try harder and harder and harder and harder and harder and harder and don't sleep and harder. That's what I do. And maybe it's from my childhood. Maybe I should fix that, whatever. But that's the way I usually act. And if somebody doesn't say, hey, look, you just set records right and left, you're doing fucking great. You know what I mean? You're doing fucking great. Here's a dinner. Take care of your health. You know what I mean? Like, be good to yourself. You know, you're doing great. You're the best guy we've ever had. In fact, the deal I closed was the biggest deal the company had ever done. The biggest salary at the time. So, but now I'm older, I could handle it. But back then, I was young. I couldn't. I was like, I don't know what I was then back then. I was in my 20s, late 20s. And I just didn't have the skills, to handle it. So, reality, right? Reality. So, I was thinking about it the other day. I was talking to a guy, and we were just talking about, he got sick and his wife divorced him. And I just said, look, the deal is she never loved you. And the only reason why she was there was for the money, which to her meant whatever. She'll call it in girl words, but it's just money in your words, cash. And as soon as that was even questionable, she left you. That means there was no strong emotions. And he's like, yeah, but, and I'm like, no, that's why women marry men. And he's like, yeah, but there's this other, this and that. And I was kind of like, no, there's nothing else to learn. Women don't love men. If you're looking for that in marriage, you're looking at the wrong place. It ain't going to happen. And especially now with marriage falling apart all the time and you guys know all the kind of circumstances with modern marriage, is that there's no motivation for a guy to get married anymore at all. So that's so stark. You know what I mean? Like even myself, I'm like, well, but, and it's like, no, there's no reason. Move on. Like that, what was that comment? What was it? I don't remember where it originally came from, but he's like, move along, nothing to see here. Move along, nothing to see here. Now South Park, everybody uses it. But, it's really true. And I think guys, just society, women, they're not what you think. They don't give a shit. And no matter how much you want them to, you can want and if you give a girl enough money, she'll play any role you want, right? But that doesn't mean it's real. So because that's not real, in my mind, and the fact that marriage pretty much ends in divorce or misery all the time now, and then basically like a successful marriage isn't what you thought, then why do it? There's no reason. Give me one reason. There's no reason. But see, that's the hard part. See, we want to bend reality. We want to watch, I don't know, I'm going to watch the 49ers game today. Like, my mind wants to force the football through some magnetic radar and laser technology to go where I want it to go, right? You know what I mean? And yet it doesn't work, right? It just doesn't work. So one of the key skills that men have, one of the probably most important skills of men is just saying, you know what? It's not what I wanted. It's not what I thought, but I accept that. And when I say accept that, it's not as simple as you think. I'm not saying you're angry about it. I'm not saying you're bitter about it. See, the reason why you're angry and bitter is because you don't accept it. And you blame it on the certain person. You're like, that certain person was no good. And the reason why you do that is because you're thinking you don't accept that that's the way it is with everybody. So you think, oh, if I just did that, or if I would have done this earlier with that one, maybe she wouldn't have become that. It's like when you accept reality, you're not angry. Because you just like, the whole red pill rage idea is when you haven't accepted the red pill yet. It's more like red pill, you're being exposed to red pill, and you're like, Once you accept that they're not going to love you, there's no reason to get married, and then you can be free for your whole life. You can wake up like me on Christmas morning, nobody nagging you, nobody to buy presents, no girl to buy presents you have to buy for. And I can get up, I can go in the water right now, go body surfing, take out a longboard. I can sit in the hot tub as long as I want. I can take a walk. I can go to the gym. I can watch a comedy. I can call an old friend. I can call my mom. I am totally free. And I'm telling you right now, I am free. I'm looking up at these trees right now. The sun is hitting the leaves in front of me, just the early morning sun. And it's just beautiful. It's like this beautiful green leaf with what looks like berries, but they're not. But they look like black berries. Absolutely gorgeous. This huge tall tree in front of me. And there's some red leaves up on my right. And then they're going to fall off soon. They're just bright red looking down on me. One of them, the sun is like shining on it. It looks like somebody went up there and shined it with shoe polish. It looks so beautiful. It's been raining for a week, so it's like everything is like really vibrant right now. And I'm able to make my own choices today. Eat what I want, hang out with who I want to hang out with, call who I want, be the person I want, because I feel good. I slept good last night, had a good workout earlier in the week, heavy duty. I feel confident. I feel good that I did the right thing for myself. And I'm not being dragged down by a bunch of stuff. Now, a lot of guys will say, hey, I can't accept a red pill because it's just too hard and it'll make me depressed. This is a prediction. Do not exaggerate it, your ability to predict things. Humans are not good predictors. We're terrible at it. You think if you do this, then this will happen. What actually is happening is there's a fear in you. And the fear is everything is going to fall apart if I don't keep believing this thing. And I'm here to tell you that, yes, it is difficult to change. Yes, not being loved is not the easiest, not the funnest thing to accept. But I will say this. If you don't accept reality, it's still there. Okay? So you're doing two things. One, you're spending a lot of energy covering up for reality, and deep inside you feel very, very kind of a hopelessness. See, I don't feel hopelessness like you might think. It's not at all the case. The reason why I don't feel hopeless, I think, is the reason why I never feel hopeless is because I accept reality. And I'm like, okay, no matter how difficult it is, I am going to accept it and move on. And I know, in my heart of hearts, I know life is good. And that I'm glad I was born. And I want to enjoy my life while I'm here. Period. Right? And part of that is just accepting things, because my mind is only clear if I'm not using a lot of energy and depression pills and all the crap people do to make themselves not feel what is real. It's all based on basically a fake fear. That's what it is. It's when I say fake fear, it's a fear that is not true. It's the same as the best example I think of is some guy who's afraid of working out, so he doesn't work out because he thinks he's going to hurt himself, and then he doesn't work out, and then he gets injured because he was not strong enough, and then that injury is worse, and he has more difficult time coming back because he didn't work out before he got injured. See, when I get injured, the doctor's always like, okay, don't move for 4 weeks, but basically you're going to be fine, because he looks at my body, I'm in killer shape, you know what I mean, I'm flexible, I'm strong, my body's young. He's like, you're going to be fine. If I broke a leg, he might say something like, I'll ask him, can I do leg presses with the other leg? He's like, sure. And I'll do leg presses with the other leg because I read, and I believe it, and it worked for me, is if you work out one side of your body, the other side compensates somewhat. And when the cast comes off, you're much stronger than you would have been if you didn't work out. And so I read that years ago, and I've broken my bones many times playing sports and just everything. And every time I do it now, I work out even harder with the other arm, the other leg. And what happens is every time I take off the cast, same thing. I look at it, I'm depressed because it's not as good as the other one is currently. And a week later, I look at them, and they look the same. So, accepting reality, right? It doesn't lead you down a bad path, guys. Accepting women don't love you. Society doesn't care about you. That's why men die of, taking their own lives and all that. And why guys end up homeless, because society doesn't care. So you think, probably, I don't want to accept that. I want to think everybody cares and loves me because I'm afraid if I don't, then this is going to happen, then that's going to happen. I'm telling you right now, society does not care about you and women do not love you. So if you accept that, at least if you use my model and say, wait a second, Ronin accepts that? He's pretty happy. How is that possible? Because everybody around me fakes things and covers things up. And yet they're more miserable than they were in the beginning. I'm going to give it a try. I'm just going to take the most difficult thing and I'm just going to accept it today. Right? Your wife never loved you. Right? That someone else doesn't. Your parents didn't love you. There's a lot of parents out there who don't love their kids. And that is one of the most difficult ones. Really difficult. But I will tell you, and I'll get into it if we're in person. I don't want to talk publicly about this one, but I will tell you that you can get through it. And you can come out stronger the other side. Same thing as the other things. There are ways, there are means, there are guys who have led the way. You don't need to give in to fear. You don't. And I don't mean everybody. I mean you, sitting right here listening. You don't have to give in to that feeling that if you accept this, everything's going to fall apart. Once you get to that stage, comment, and I can make another video about the next stage. But I will just tell you that, what you can do once you accept it. But just for today, just say, you know what? All the different difficult things, I'm just going to not think about what the fears tell. The fear's like, if you do this, and if he did that, that's, and everybody, but you just got to know this. Here's my message. This is what I always think to myself. I always think, is it more difficult to pull one trailer or two? So you got a trailer on your truck. Difficult to pull, difficult to drive, bad gas mileage. Okay, what's more difficult? In Australia, they got like five, a truck with like 5 trailers or 6 trailers. They're called land trains, I think. And is it easier to drive with 1 trailer or 2 trailers? Or 3 trailers? Or 4 trailers? It's easier to drive with 1. And it's even easier to drive with no trailer, right? So when you cover things up, when you give into this irrational idea that if you accept this, you're going to somehow go into a black hole or something, right? Because it seems difficult. You look at it on a face like, wait, people don't love me? Wait, what am I going to do? I have to believe that. Just think about it. If they don't, just think, okay, I'm just going to, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I will just accept this today. I'm just going to believe Ronin, because see, the thing is, here's the thing. You are already pulling that trailer. You're pulling the trailer of the original truth, right? Somebody doesn't love you. And then you're pulling another trailer where you're trying to cover it up, ignore it, anesthetize yourself. So you're pulling 2 trailers. When you at least let go of 1 trailer, it's easier. And there's a way to let go of the other one. That's the good news. So I'll leave you with that for 2024. Anybody who's coming to the Las Vegas Summit, we're going to blast off some killer fucking stuff there. Not all of it goes online. The last summit, I didn't even put online. So I want to reward guys who come to the summit. I might put some online, but a lot of the good shit's not going to be online. You got to come in person. So Las Vegas Summit, February 16th to 18th. 16th starts at 3 o'clock. We're on the Strip and ends on the 18th, Sunday at noon. Now, what's confusing to some guys is we have the house from the 13th to the 20th. So February 13th to 20th. So you can come. I know some guys are coming from overseas, Holland, England. You can come. You got a place to stay from the 13th to the 20th in Las Vegas. We're going to climb mountains. We're going to hike. We're going to explore. We're going to learn about all kinds of, for you guys that aren't desert guys, you got a real treat. If you guys have never been to the desert, this is one of the biggest reasons to go. I'll just give you a quick desert pitch here. I was born in the desert. I was born in Phoenix, Arizona, 1965. January 1965. In 1965, Phoenix was a small place. It was not what it is now. And our trailer park had dirt roads, and there was a dirt road to a main road, and my school had a dirt road to it. It wasn't like some kind of little house on the prairie, but there was not a lot of stuff out there back then. And Phoenix was like fucking to New York or Tokyo compared to where we lived next. We lived in Bullhead City. We lived in Seligman. We lived in Flagstaff. We lived in, all kinds of just basically towns where there was no town. Some of the towns I lived in, there was just a gas station. That was it. Had some vegetables and fruits, and it was just basically tumbleweeds. Actually, there's not that many tumbleweeds in the desert. But the thing is I was born in the real desert, which is not easy to find anymore because now they've kind of tamed a lot of the desert. But I have a very, very deep love for the desert. A lot of people think the desert is dead. There's nothing there. We're going to meditate in the sand, up on hills. I'm going to show you why I love the desert more than any place except for the ocean. The ocean, number one for me, desert, number two. There is a peace in the desert, and it's not from some bullshit in Sonoma. It's not from some stupid crystals or another fake trailer you got to carry, you got to drag along. From the truth is there is a peace and there is a beauty. There is a relaxing spirit in the desert. And there is I would even go so far as to say a spirituality. Even though I don't believe in God, there is a spirituality in the desert. There is a sense that you are not plugged into the world when you're out there. And it feels weird. It feels weird. I would love to do a night in the desert, one of the nights, maybe before or after the summit. So I'll leave that one there if we can arrange that. And if guys want to do whatever they want to do, they're welcome to do that at that camp out, including trip out or whatever they want to get into. You know, it's all good. There's going to be some serious spirituality there in the desert, I would guess. But yeah, so come join us. Come meet in person. Don't be lonely, and don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. I mean, well, you got the fear. That's fine. But just realize that it's not real. A lot of guys are doing it. And that's it. Thanks for listening.